Well, good afternoon. I'd like to welcome you to GPA Live, an educational series brought to you by the Global Pain Association. My name is Ron Aaron Eisenberg, and I have the privilege of being the host for this program. I have an honor and a privilege of hosting several different medical programs, and it feels very comfortable for me, especially because we're bringing hope and health and lots of information for people who struggle with chronic pain. Today we have a very, very special program. The topic is ways to improve sleep while living with chronic pain. And I know there are a whole lot of folks who are watching us who, with chronic pain, often find it difficult to get sleep. So we encourage you to watch, share this program. If you're watching us on Facebook, you can share it, and so your friends will be able to see it as well. We've got a new name for the new year, GPA Live, and our special guest, Dr. Marianne Pinkston, a Global Pain Association warrior, support group facilitator, and a pain warrior herself. She struggles with rheumatoid arthritis. Before we bring Marianne on, we're going to welcome Dr. Susan Blackwood, president of the Global Pain Association, and she's going to share with us some sad news about a GPA Advisory Council member who passed away from COVID-19. Susan, good to see you. Thank you.
Thank you so much again for being our moderator in 2021. We're excited about the name. We're excited about what the organization is doing. And we could not do it without our volunteer board members and advisory council members. And we did, unfortunately, lose an advisory council member a week and a half ago, Gloria Vasquez, who did so much for the organization. She was the director of the Agency Area on Aging for good friends of ours at ACOG, the Alamo Area Council of Governments. She served in that capacity for many years, and she has done so much for the community. Obviously, her heart was in helping the aged, but she, for 11 years, was a vice president at the YMCA, which when I first met Gloria, that's what she was doing for young children as she was building their childhood services. And not everyone, very few of us, go to a high school the size of hers, in Natalia, and then become the mayor of the city, and then a school board member. But she had so much to give and so much of what she wanted to do for her community. People say that you couldn't ask for a better person in terms of giving her heart and soul to whatever she was passionate about. And one of the things that she was passionate about was the Global Pain Association and what we're doing for people in terms of helping them find and manage their chronic pain with alternative ways. And she had so many suggestions. They were a sponsor. ACOG's a wonderful organization. She worked for them, as I said, for a number of years. And they have so many services that they offer to people in our community that she helped us get the word out about ACOG and many other things with GPA. She'll be sorely missed, Ron, and we know her family is having a tribute tour this afternoon about 2 o'clock, and our condolences to her, the family, her friends, all the people at ACOG, her coworkers, and especially the people that worked with her on the Global Pain Association Board of Directors and Advisory Council.
And she is the second person associated with GPA who died from COVID-19.
Yes, we lost on November 24th, Rebecca Christopherson, one of our board members. Again, a wonderful, wonderful person. Couldn't give enough of herself to people that she wanted to help. And again, our condolences and love out to her family and friends who are still mourning the loss of her in November.
I bring her up because our next guest, Dr. Marianne Pinkston, facilitates a support group that was Rebecca's dream, a support group for people with chronic pain.
Yes, the Global Pain Warriors are meeting now the first and third Tuesday of every month at 7 p.m. And Dr. Pinkston has been a wonderful host, facilitator, and done a great job. The first session that we had the other night, we had couples who are living with chronic pain, both the person living with chronic pain and the caregivers. And they had so many tips and words of wisdom to share with each other. This is going to be a great opportunity for us to meet more people that we can help in the community. And we are so grateful to Rebecca for having this as one of the things that she wanted to do, and it was her dream, and that's motivated us to get started.
Well, Susan, thank you. We will catch up with you later in today's broadcast. And I thank you for all the good work you do as the founder of the Global Pain Association and the driving force behind GPA Live. Thank you. We're going to turn to our special guest now, Dr. Marianne Pinkston. She was on the program last week. Marianne is the owner of Pinkston Medical and Wellness Clinic. She's in family practice and integrative medicine. She's a specialist in those fields, graduate of UT Health, where she got her MD degree, a board member of GPA, chronic pain sufferer herself with rheumatoid arthritis, and a hormone replacement specialist, and a weight loss program director. Marianne, and you can't tell looking at her, lost 162 pounds at the same time struggling with chronic pain. Well, Marianne, thank you for coming on. We're so pleased to have you with a topic about chronic pain and sleep. Let me kick it off with a question, if I may. And first, thanks for being here.
Of course, thank you.
How does pain affect sleep?
Well, that is the question, isn't it? And that's what we are going to discuss, Ron, because first of all, thank you guys so much for having me on again. And yes, the support group went very well. We had a great time. I invite everybody to join us. And also condolences, please, to the Vasquez family with what they're going through right now. I can't imagine. But Ron, sleep and pain. So, I think that pain underlying sleep disorders is about the same thing that underlies many causes of sleep problems. And the sleep disorders are caused by cortisol issues. So when you are under, a lot of pain, you're under a lot of stress, and you produce a lot of cortisol that enters and causes a lot of inflammation in the brain and causes you to be melatonin resistant. And so I'll just kind of jump right into the discussion of why we can't sleep. And stress is at the heart of all sleep problems. So it's cortisol that does it. And what is cortisol? So cortisol is produced by our adrenal glands. And it is kind of the adrenaline throughout our body that allows us to, get started in the morning and jump up and go. And then at night, when it diminishes on its curve, we're able to lie down and, go to sleep and get into a nice, easy rest. And the way that happens is melatonin in our brain starts to be produced, and we're able to give in and get a great night's sleep. When cortisol is really high for an extended period of time, so if you're in a lot of pain and many other problems just under stress in general, then the cortisol produced makes you melatonin resistant down the road. And so that's how we're essentially what we're going to review to fix. But first, I'll go over the daily cortisol curve. So it's high in the morning, which is what gets you up and gets you going, get your blood pressure ready, and gives you that get up and go. And as it falls throughout the day and gets low at night, that's what sends us into our slumber on the ride of melatonin. Stress induces an intense change to that curve. So it becomes high all day, essentially, and it can change up and down all day, but at night it will go too high. And that is where people will know they get a wired but tired feeling. So it's when you lay there and you're exhausted, you could fall on your face asleep, but your eyes pop open and the brain just starts going. You start thinking, or you can fall asleep for a couple of hours. You wake up early, can't get back down, or you get down, you just get up and down all night. And so as pain is a stressor, cortisol, leads to a high amount, and you're wired and tired. But after a while, cortisol can really fall way too low. Then you just get chronic fatigue out of that. So let me talk about melatonin resistance then. So when cortisol interrupts that melatonin function, brain becomes resistant. So if you notice, if you're in that phase and you're taking a high amount of melatonin, then you notice melatonin may not be working for you anymore. Most people will take a small amount, they'll read the back of the bottle when they buy it, and they'll take 2 milligrams. If that doesn't work, they'll take 4, then they'll take 6, and they just keep going up and up. And anytime you really go over 2 milligrams, it becomes more of a supplement. There's some great studies for reduction of breast cancer recurrence and some other issues. But anything above 2 milligrams, really, you're melatonin resistant and is not really going to work for you. So what people will do is go to their doc and say, "Doc, I'm not sleeping. Can you give me something for sleep?" Or they'll go over the counter, try to buy some medications. And so we'll do why sleep meds and things like benzodiazepines and things like that are not helpful. So your doc gives you some sleep medication, or you buy some Benadryl over the counter, Z-Cool, or something to that effect. And doctors will give you things like Ambien or benzodiazepines. And, people will find that they get a little bit of sleep. They feel like they get a little bit of sleep, but really you're fooled. What happens is you need all 4 stages of sleep to say that you've got a good night's rest. So you need stage 1 and 2, which is a very light hypnotic type of sleep, but you really need stage 3 and stage 4 sleep. That's your deep sleep and your REM sleep where you dream. That is restorative sleep. And you're not going to stay in those stages all night long, but you definitely need to reach those deep stages to repair. So you get brain repair, you get your adrenals repaired, your cortisol will stabilize, you're able to heal and make body tissues and other hormones that you need, like your testosterone and things like that. But if you're not getting stage 3 and stage 4 sleep, then you are not repairing your body. So what sleep medications do, anything over the counter, any of the medications that doctors will give you, especially the benzodiazepines like clonazepam or Xanax or Valium, what they do is they keep you in stage 1 and stage 2. So you don't really reach the stage 3 and 4. So you don't get that restorative, reparative sleep. No deep sleep, no resolution of cortisol. So it really increases your disruption of your cortisol cycle. And that's where opioids take effect too. Opioids like pain medications, narcotics, things like that, the hydrocodone and things like that tend to do the same thing. So people are taking that for pain, really get into trouble with that. So I'll go to the next slide, unless you've got any questions.
Marianne,
Shoot them at me. You
hey,
bet.
Marianne, before you jump to the slide very quickly,
Yeah.
for those who don't understand, what does it do to us when we don't have enough sleep?
So, yeah, we had talked yesterday, you and I, about how much sleep. You'd asked a great question about how much sleep is enough sleep, how much sleep should we get? And I'd mentioned to you that really it's not always about the number of hours of sleep. So 6 to 8 hours has been decently studied as a relatively good amount of sleep, but it's about the quality. So how deep of sleep do you get? And so we really need those stage 3 and stage 4 in order to get that reparative sleep. So if you're not getting enough of that, and that should be about probably at least 2 to 4 hours. 4 would really be great, but nobody really gets that. But you should at least get about 2, 2.5, or 3 hours of deep sleep for it to really become reparative. And if you're up at night, and not able to get into those deep stages and you're up and down all night, well, then you're not getting enough sleep. But 6 to 8 hours is generally what people will say doctors will say, studies will say that you need in order to get that sleep.
And how does it affect our functioning during the day when we're short of sleep?
Well, if you are not getting those deeper amounts of sleep, then again, you're not repairing your, functions of your brain chemistry. You're not repairing your ability to make all of your hormones and enzymes. You're not able to, even our gut function, our immune system function is down. So if you're not sleeping, you're not able to ward off disease. You're not able to make good cholesterol to prevent heart attacks and strokes. And one of the things I was going to mention in a few minutes too is something about sleep apnea. Sleep apnea is something where, patients think, well, I have to snore a lot at night or somebody has to hear me stop breathing. And that's not the case. Sleep apnea is where you have just a lot of dips in your oxygen levels, and that steals reparative sleep from you and causes a strain on your heart, can steal 10 years off your life. So there are many diseases and problems that can appear from not having good deep sleep.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. Absolutely. So on the supplement notion, and people are like, well, if I can't take sleep meds, then what can I take? So I do recommend a lot of a lot of therapies that can help to resolve your cortisol. So it may not be so much about finding certain supplements that knock you out and make you sleep. If you want to really repair this long term, I would look at resolving your cortisol issues and getting your adrenal glands to settle down and not work so hard. And I really do recommend medical grade type of supplements rather than most of the things that you find at the grocery store or over the counter in some of the vitamin shops and things like that. There was actually, and you can find this, I think, through CBS News several years ago, where there were several states that band together and their attorney generals went after the major groups like Walgreens and Walmart. And if I misname anybody, I do apologize in front, but they studied their supplements that they were selling and found that many of their supplements did not contain what they said was actually in the bottle, that they actually were full of fillers like talcum powder or safflower oil or things. Talcum powder is a carcinogen. So I do recommend medical grade supplements. And I ask patients to please, ask their physician. I always have references of where you can go and find these things, but your medical professional that you speak with, your nurse practitioner, your doctor, your herbalist, there are many people who know places to get medical grade supplements. And even buying things off of Amazon, I say, please be careful off the internet. A lot of these places will buy these bottles and put something else in them and reseal them and diminish the quality to get an extra buck. And so I ask people to be very, very careful. I recommend companies like Orthomolecular or Zymogen. Those tend to be my top two. And so that's the difference between medical grade versus over the counter. But if you're looking at supplements to treat your cortisol, things like ashwagandha, licorice root, rhodiola, and there's a whole list of them. It's very easy to look up. I recommend those to help stabilize your cortisol. And it takes about probably 10 to 14 days to really see a difference. And it's not like an overnight, thing where you just wake, go to sleep one night, you take it, you go to sleep one night, you wake up and you say, oh, I slept wonderful. It usually after 10 to 14 days, you'll look backwards and say, you know what? I really have been sleeping better. I am doing better. So it's a little bit of a gradual turn. But after you begin to get control of cortisol issues and your melatonin starts to return, you can actually begin to take melatonin again. And I combine it with L-theanine, which is an amino acid, very safe, very good product, and 5-HTP, which I see my auto-corrected there, HTTP, but it's 5-HTP. And there will be, that combination helps to induce a very good sleep and without hangover the next day. It's a natural sleep. It does not interrupt your stages. So you are able to get into stage 3 and stage 4. And melatonin should be limited to 2 milligrams or under. Again, it's like if 6 milligrams isn't working, try 4. If 4 isn't working, try 2. If 2 isn't working, try 1. It is a receptor issue. It's not a dosing issue. And then I added testosterone onto the end. Natural testosterone. I do not like the shots. I like more of a natural pellet version. But testosterone is something that helps to straighten out sleep cycles. I find a lot of people with chronic pain get both pain relief and sleep improvement with testosterone.
Now that's for men and women.
Men and women. You bet. I'm so glad you said that, Ron. Thank you. Because a lot of people think, well, testosterone is a male hormone. No, it's a human hormone. It's just that men need to be in the 900 to 1200 nanogram per deciliter range. So 900 to 1200 in their range. Women need to be 250 to 350. So a huge difference. But everybody needs testosterone for their muscle mass and anti-aging and weight and sleep and memory and all of those things. So I'll talk a little bit. Did you have a question? I'm so sorry, dear.
Oh, no, I'm waiting for you to go on and you're doing a great job.
Oh, thank you. Thank you, Ron. Okay, so next is kind of sleep hygiene. Now, this is a big one, and I know we talked about this yesterday and joked about it quite a bit. Sleep hygiene is so important. I think people really forget the basics. So go back to the basics. you really should stop all screen activity at least an hour before bedtime. So I'm talking about your phone screen, computer screen, TV screens, anything that has the blue light effect, because that has a stimulant effect to us. So when we're watching our phones trying to fall asleep, and kids do this a lot, we're really interrupting our ability to fall into a good sleep. And then the old saying of, when when you're raising children and you start from the very beginning trying to get kids to sleep, a routine is very, very important. So you need to dim lights down, read, get into a soft, easy light, and start to reduce your stressors around you, noises and all of those things, and try to get yourself into an easy sleep. Using herbals is always wonderful, whether it's something that is in a diffuser, something aromatherapy, or in a bath, or something that you take by mouth. So things like chamomile, valerian. I work with an herbalist who is amazing. She's got a lot of different varieties of sleep measures that she uses. And L-theanine is great, the 5-HTP and the melatonin that I mentioned before. But I also tell people about using things for baths. So with chronic pain, using magnesium is wonderful for helping you sleep. I know a lot of patients with chronic pain, you're thinking maybe it's just arthritis or low back or something like that. But chronic pain includes things like restless leg syndrome or neuropathy or things like that. And magnesium is really a great muscle relaxant. It helps with those nighttime leg cramps that keep people awake all night. And so if you do a bath, you can do Epsom salts, really high dose and really, warm as you can stand at water. There's a lot of magnesium lotions and sprays and things like that. Magnesium glycinate, pay attention to the type of magnesium that you're taking, because you can take a different version of it. You're going to get a laxative effect instead of a muscle relaxant. And so magnesium glycinate is very important. I'll also use a lot of CBD, and it doesn't have to be marijuana based. It can be hemp based. And so CBD at low doses make people very sleepy, help to relaxation. At high dosages, it can excite people and make you a little bit more energetic. And then, always get into a good exercise pattern. Ron, you were right when you said I lost 162 pounds with having rheumatoid arthritis and having chronic pain. Exercise can be done. It changed my life, and it changed my sleep pattern. It changed everything about my world, and is really helpful. But when people exercise, you really get your body set up to rest well at night. It changes your hormone pattern. But sleep apnea, also touched on, is very important. A lot of people are very resistant about getting checked for sleep apnea. And if you wanted to speak to that, Ron, you might, but they're very resistant about getting checked for sleep apnea and getting treated. It can absolutely change your life and reduce.
Well, I was, as you know, recently I was hospitalized for low oxygen, and they discovered I had sleep apnea, probably had it for years, had no idea. They fitted me with a breathing machine, a CPAP machine that literally has changed my life. Other than it's bruised my little nose, as you can see, but I put that mask on at night, and I go to sleep, and I stay asleep, except at my age, you get up and go pee-pee a couple times, and I go right back to sleep.
Right.
It is taking the CO2 out of me and pumping oxygen into me. It's made a huge difference. I wish I'd hit on that, literally years ago. And I asked you earlier, what are some of the ways in which poor sleep affects you? Well, I can tell you with sleep apnea, my wife, were she on with us, she produces the show, but we don't let her on the air yet.
Poor Gina. We never let her out of the closet.
She would tell you that I would literally drift off. Like you and I are talking now, I would go
right
and be asleep, which I didn't know. She would say to me, she calls me the bear, bear, wake up. I had no idea. I would drift off.
And the way that it affects your
Really?
heart long term, it literally steals 10 years off your life. And it's a silent thief. You don't know it's happening. It's really very crazy.
Well,
And they can do the testing at home now. So people don't even have to leave home
right.
in order to do it. It's
Yeah,
really,
that's right.
it's really convenient.
Yeah, they can do a sleep test at home, and it
It
can
gets you,
save your life.
it can save your life, very much
Yeah.
so.
Now you
Well,
want to talk about resources.
yeah, so this is kind of the last of it, and definitely some of the resources. So I have found a couple of places where you can find some good, more integrative information. I do practice more integrative style medicine rather than contemporary, and so I follow a little bit different crowd, but I find that there's fantastic evidence-based information behind it. I never do anything unless I find good science behind it. So Dr. Axe and Dr. Mark Hyman are both physicians that are very high ranking in the integrative world. And if you just, plug in anything about sleep into their websites, you will find a lot of information about supplements and things like that too. Definitely the conditions, you can start looking at the different conditions that you have and supplement-based things with Dr. Axe and Dr. Hyman. So sleep apnea, neuropathy, restless leg, those types of things. But I wanted to show you a couple of things that I found that I love. Now, I use this myself, and it is called an Aura Ring.
Now Gina needs to put you on camera.
Yeah, she'll bring me up here in a second.
There you
So,
are.
yeah, and so it's called an Aura Ring, and I'll try to show you here. It's a ring that looks very high tech. It's a little bit of plastic, but it is a ring that you put on your finger and you wear at night. And it has the capability of tracking your sleep all night long. And so it will tell you your sleep stages and how many hours and minutes you get in 1, 2, 3, and 4. And it will tell you how many times you wake up, how long it takes you to go back to sleep, your sleep latency, how long it takes you to actually fall asleep. All very important information, but it also has education attached to it. So when you read the numbers of how you slept, it will explain to you, your the functionality of what numbers that you're getting. It also can track your heart rate, your exercise, your steps during the day. So you can wear it working out. It's an amazing tool. Now, the other thing that I found, and I'll explain a little bit more. It's a little bit expensive in the Onslaught. So it's a one-time purchase. The app is free. You never have to purchase anything after you purchase the ring. They get you sized, and then you get the ring. It's about, I think it's $299. It may have changed, $249, something like that. So it's a little bit high up front, but it's very, very worth it. I think it's better than Apple Watches and things like, or any of the other apps. The other thing that I'll show you too is the app that I have found called Curable. So this is great for patients with chronic pain, and it also has a lot about sleep. So that's what it looks like when you download it. And you have to answer a lot of questions. I'm in the middle of doing that with it, but I looked through it on a friend's phone, and it's curable pain relief. So it talks a lot about sleep and the cortisol, which is what really drew me to it, that they really mention a lot about cortisol, and they agree with some of the things that I've discussed with you. So that's another thing that can help patients learn more, because the more you learn, more knowledge you have, definitely, the better off you'll be.
Well, this has been perfect. I want to thank you for spending all this time with us. If folks want to get a hold of you, there's a phone number on screen, and they can call you. There's no charge to call, and perhaps make an appointment and see Dr. Pinkston. She is a wealth of information on a variety of issues, but chronic pain is one because she experienced it herself. So thank you, Marianne. Appreciate it.
Absolutely.
Take care.
I will. Thank you, Ron. You too.
Well, thanks. We're going to bring Dr. Susan Blackwood back on camera and talk to Susan briefly about getting involved with the Global Pain Association. Susan, we've learned a lot about sleep. That's a good thing. Now that we're awake, talk to us about how we can get involved with the Global Pain Association.
Well, that was a wonderful presentation, Ron. I hope I can get some of that licorice root. I already think I can doze off if I have a little bit of that. But thank you, Dr. Pinkston, for everything that you do for the Global Pain Association, being a board member, running the support.
It was a great presentation.
All of your contributions have been amazing. Every one of these sessions continues to get better, and we've had a lot of great experts and speakers, and we're looking forward to having more before the end of May when we're running these series each week. And couldn't do it without the Eisenberg Group, but we also couldn't do it without our sponsors and our donors, Ron. And we need to get more of them involved. We want to keep the series going and offer more resources to people living with chronic pain and their caregivers. And you can see on the screen that they can find us at globalpain.org/donate. They can also volunteer. All of our resources are listed forever. On our website, you can see all of our virtual series, also on Facebook. And so we're hoping that people will review those and go back and see them over and over again, because they are so good and people have given so much time. And I've got a little special treat. We certainly want to keep people involved with the Global Pain Association. And we have a GPA t-shirt, medium, large, or extra large, or a $10 HEB gift card. Let me show you that shirt. Look at these logos. Woo! Beautiful teal color. If people will contact us on our chat page here at the Facebook Live series and let us know how we can mail the t-shirt or HEB card to you. So we need a physical address. So the first 2 people that we get to respond to this request today are our winners. So good luck, and we look forward to more and more sessions. I think Ron's going to tell us what to expect next week.
Well, you want to go to the Global Pain Association Facebook page, private message with your name and address. And as Dr. Blackwood said, the first 2 who respond are going to be winners. Next week, we've got another great program coming up, January 30th at noon, right here on GPA Live. We talk about procedures to improve and reduce neck and back pain. And if you've got questions you want to ask, email info@globalpain.org. On behalf of all of us at GPA Live, to our executive producer, Gina Eisenberg, to Susan Blackwood, thank you very much. A special thank you to Dr. Marianne Pinkston. She shared a lot of information. And thank all of you for sharing, as I noticed you have done on our chat box. So thanks for watching, and we'll catch you next week right here on Global Pain Live. Thanks, everybody.